Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Case File
with Kat
and Ashley.
Hey. It's the morning, so forgive us.
Yeah, we're recording at 9 a.m. and I'm not a morning person.
If I start to snore.
Not everything today is about murder because it's what I feel like when I'm up in the morning.
Okay, good. Good.
So we are not drinking alcoholic beverages. At least I'm not drinking. I don't know if Kat is drinking. I'm not drinking alcoholic beverages.
I'm drinking coffee.
I'm drinking water. We are super excited if you can't tell by our voices. Okay.
I had a late night. I have that late night rasp.
I'm just a night person in general, so I usually work until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Nope.
So
A whole lot of nope.
Being up and ready and doing an episode at 9 a.m. is rough.
Yeah.
Okay, so question of the week. It was a name generator. It was choose first name, last name.
Mine's terrible. So mine is terrible. So with the K, so it's the stolen room. But I much prefer Jason's. His is the shadow room. Ooh, I like that.
I do like that.
The shadow room.
Mine is dumb AF. I don't even know what it means.
Okay, let's hear it.
Salt informant. I don't even know what that means, but that's what mine is. I am the
should be salty. The salty.
But it says salt. I am very salty this morning. But it says salt.
Just salt. That's weird.
It's book title, right?
Yeah, but what went with salt that made them put salt?
I don't know.
Like that seems like the most random.
Salt room.
Cypress. The cypress. Whatever. That's weird too.
I don't know. But anyway, so my title is the salt.
Okay, well, we can't wait to read your answers later.
Yes. If you don't know what question of the week is, we ask it every week before we record. You answer, we read them. You can send us some fun times. I do actually have some trivia today because I thought these were kind of cool. It's not really trivia. It's the craziest serial killer confessions.
Oh.
I don't know if these are all of them, but I just picked the 6 that I thought were kind of cool. I mean, not cool. Let me rephrase.
Okay, thanks.
That were crazy. Let me just say that. Anyways, moving on. Gary Lee Sampson was, I switched from stabbing to strangling victims because I was tired of getting blood on myself. It was gross. Carla.
Oh my God.
Oh, which you did a story on. It was Father's Day and there was a dead girl in my house and my family was there. I won't forget that ever.
Wow. Well, I would hope not. Oh my God.
Mary Bell.
Wasn't that girl her sister?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Mary Bell, which is another crazy story. I don't think we've done her, but it was pretty crazy. Anyways. Oh, I know he's dead. I just wanted to see him in his coffin. The DC sniper said, even though not everyone we attacked died, I intended to kill them all.
Yikes.
Richard Ramirez, you know that I am a killer. I want that electric chair. They should have shot me on the street. And
wow. He was scary. Like that's a scary dude.
Yeah, we also did an episode on him.
Yeah, there's really the fact that it seems so random. Like that's really terrifying. Okay, go ahead.
And just the fact that he knew, like, they should have just killed him. But anyways, Joe Metheny said, if you mix human and animal meat together, no one can tell the difference.
Yuck. Yuck. Have we done him?
I don't think so, no.
Ew, yuck. Gross.
Yeah. If you mix human and animal meat together, no one can tell the difference. So just
the perfect crime.
And that's just going to segue right on into my story that I'm doing today. You may ask, how does mixing human and animal meat together segue into any story?
Yes, unless you're doing like Sweeney Todd or something.
So my story is about a serial killer because, again, it's 9 a.m. and murder sounds like it's on the table.
First thing in the morning. Gotta love it.
Yes.
Go Case Files. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Woo. Okay. The woman I will be speaking of today not only skinned, boiled, and served her spouse to his children.
What?
But she is just in general super crazy. Most of you probably have heard her name and like a short version of what she did, but I'm going to cover everything she did.
Whoa.
So today I'm talking about Katherine Knight.
Okay. Don't know her.
Oh, okay. Well, Katherine Knight has a song about her and it's super crazy. I should have played it. But yeah.
We'll enter it here.
She's famous because she's the first woman in Australia to ever receive the death penalty.
Still the only one.
I think she thinks she was the first one.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
I don't know if she was the only one. But that's what's made her kind of famous. So Katherine Knight was born and raised in an unconventional, and I know we're all going to be shocked when I say this, a dysfunctional family environment.
Yep. Check.
Her mother was Barbara Rogan, and Barbara was married to Jack Rogan, and they lived in a small town in New South Wales, Hunter Valley. So Barbara and Jack had 4 sons before Barbara. Barbara and Jack had 4 sons before Barbara began to have an affair with a man named Ken Knight, which was a friend and co-worker of her husband, Jack.
That sounds fabulous.
It just gets better. So the Rogan and Knight families were well known in the conservative royal town. And so this affair was like a major scandal. Like it was what everyone was talking about. Everyone knew about it. So local backlash forced Barbara and Ken to move to Moray. So none of her 4 sons went with her. The 2 eldest boys continued to live with their father, and the 2 youngest were sent to be raised by an aunt in Sydney. So none of the kids went with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So Barbara had 4 additional children with Ken.
Damn. So Katherine and then 4 more?
Yes. So Barbara had 4 children with Ken, including twin girls that were born in 1955 in Tenterfield. Katherine was born on October 24th, 1955. She was the younger of the twin daughters. Mm-hmm. And in 1959, when Katherine was 4, Jack Rogan died, and his 2 older boys who had been living with him moved in with Barbara, their mother, and Ken. So that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. She's a Scorpio.
Yes, well, so am I. Katherine's father was an alcoholic who openly used violence and intimidation. He would rape Barbara up to 10 times a day. Ugh. Barbara, in turn, often told her daughters intimate details of her sex life and how much she hated sex and how much she hated men. Later, when Katherine complained to her mother that one of her partners wanted her to take part in a sex act that she did not want to perform in, Barbara told her to put up with it or stop complaining.
What?
It's a direct quote from her mother. Put up with it or stop complaining.
Oh.
Katherine claims...
Which is like the same thing. Put up with it and stop complaining.
Katherine claims she was frequently sexually assaulted by several members of her family, though not by her father, which continued until she was aged 11. Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm assuming, I don't know, assuming when it says several members, I'm assuming brothers maybe. It didn't specify. It just said not her father. They wanted to make sure that people
knew that it wasn't him. Yeah. So it sounds like it was probably one or both of those brothers.
It said several members of her family.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
So although there are doubts about those details, psychiatrists do accept her claims, and the events have been largely confirmed by outside members of the family. So even though some other people think she was lying about that, her own family members and psychiatrists have confirmed that they do believe she was sexually assaulted and, did not have the greatest things going on in her life. Mm. So Barbara's great-grandmother was an indigenous... I can't say this word. Indigenous...
Indigenous.
Yes, there we go. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Australian from the Moray area who had married an Irishman. So Barbara was proud of this fact and identified as guys, I'm going to pronounce it the way it looks. Aboriginal.
That's exactly how you say it.
Perfect. Great. Moving on. This was kept.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. This was kept a family secret as there was considerable racism in the area at the time, and Barbara's descent was a source of tension for the children. Apart from her twin sister, the only person whom Katherine was close to was her uncle Oscar Knight, who was a champion horseman. She was devastated when he committed suicide in 1969 and continues to maintain that his ghost visits her. So when this happened, after his suicide, the family moved back to Aberdeen in the same year. So Katherine, as she got into her teens, she was generally a pleasant girl. She had red hair and freckles. She earned her nickname of the Speckled Hen. She would find animals that were hurt on the street and rescue them. She wasn't allowed to keep them as pets, but she would try to heal them and bring them back to health. Oh. However, her pleasant nature began to change as she got older. So when she started to attend high school, Katherine became a loner. She was remembered by her classmates as a bully. She would often stand over smaller children. She assaulted at least one boy at school with a weapon. She was, and she was injured by a teacher who subsequently found to have acted in self-defense. So she had been attacking the teacher. The teacher injured her because she was trying to defend herself. By contrast, when not in a rage, Katherine was a model student and often earned awards for her good behavior. So it was very back and forth. She left school at 15.
There's a mental health issue there that was not diagnosed or being treated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at 15, she just drops out. She didn't learn how to read. She didn't learn how to write. She had gotten a job at a clothing factory as a cutter, but didn't really like that job. So 12 months later, so a year later, she left that for her dream job. If you just had to guess what her dream job would be.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. Fast food?
Cutting up meat at the local abattoir. I don't know how to say it, but it's basically like a meat shop.
Okay, like a butcher. All right.
She was quickly promoted to boning and was given her own set of butcher knives. At home, the knives were hung over her bed so that they would always be handy if I needed them, she said, a habit she continued everywhere she lived. So she would just hang her butcher knives above her bed in case she needed them.
Mm-hmm. As one does.
So she loved this job. That was her dream job, cutting up and deboning animals and whatever. That she often and repeatedly said that was her dream job. So
I wonder if she liked just the violence of it, of that crack, or just she was beaten up on those pieces of meat rather than on people, maybe.
So while there, she learned how to, with precision, skin animals, bone them, whatever. So while working at this butcher shop, Katherine met David Kellett. So he was a raging alcoholic, much like her father, and he was prone to fistfights. Used to this kind of violence, though, Katherine surprised her new man when she would join in on one of his drunken scuffles. So he wasn't prepared for that. He was not prepared for Katherine to defend herself, to not only defend herself, but be good at defending herself. So he soon realized that she was capable of doing more than just a little bit of damage with her fist.
Wow. So she was like, oh, you want to fight? Oh, okay. This is right. All right. I'm ready.
Before long, he found he was actually being dominated by her. So in 1974, she convinced him to marry her.
Wow.
He was heavily intoxicated the entire time. And the mother even warned him about her daughter's temper, saying that Katherine had a screw loose somewhere.
Really, Mom? Really?
So
you know what? Just take it or stop complaining.
On their wedding night, Katherine and David would consummate their marriage 3 times. When he fell asleep, Katherine wanted a 4th round and took an issue with him being exhausted, so she started to strangle him.
That makes sense. 3 times and then strangled. Wow.
Yes, because he didn't want to do it a 4th time because he was sleeping.
Wow.
So David did wake up. He did manage to fight her off, and even though she tried to kill him day 1 of their marriage, which, that's a red flag. If your spouse tried to kill you day 1.
Listen, strangulation is a red flag always.
Oh, yes, always.
Doesn't matter when it is, strangulation. Yes. If someone puts their hands on your neck or arm.
And if someone tells you to put up with it and stop complaining also.
All those things are very bad.
All of the things in this story. It's actually, I found a lot of the things about her relationships to be often the reverse. Like usually you hear about a man doing these things. So I thought it was interesting that it was roles reversed, because it does show that men can
be dominated. Yes, absolutely.
And suffer domestic violence.
It's generally the other way around. But, I don't know what the percentage is, but there are still people who...
But I don't think people think about like the fact that men can actually...
And she seemed like a...
And it just gets worse. This is just her first husband.
Oh. I thought this was like the one that she's going to cut up. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. So
mixed with the animal meat.
No, not this one. David did wake up. He fought her off, even though, she tried to kill him. They actually stayed married for 10 years.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
David was often unfaithful and once left Katherine and their 2 daughters in the middle of the night. After discovering one of David's affairs, Katherine placed their 2-month-old daughter on the local train tracks before a train was due to arrive. Luckily, the train did not come that day and the baby was spared.
Oh my God.
Same date, she had also threatened several people with an axe that she had stolen from somewhere. So at this point, she was diagnosed with postnatal depression, which is like postpartum, after witnesses saw her violently pushing and swinging her 2nd child in a stroller down a very busy street.
Wait, swinging the stroller?
Like, I think maybe swinging it out into traffic, it was a very busy street and she was clearly putting her kid in danger. So she did at this point she spent several months in a psychiatric hospital where she told nurses that she intended to kill the mechanic who had fixed David's car because that made it possible for him to leave her.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's just like a whole lot of blame on people that had nothing to do with the situation she was in.
Despite this threat, David took Katherine back when she was released from the hospital. Also, despite that statement, they released her from the hospital.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they released. I'm shocked.
This didn't last long, though, because Katherine went through a period of very deep distress after he did finally decide to leave her. So they were only together for a short period of time after she got to the hospital. He leaves her. She goes into this deep depression.
Where are the children?
I don't know where the children are. It didn't mention where the children were.
Whoa. They probably took the babies away.
In 1986, shortly after the breakup with David, she was not in distress that long, obviously. She quickly moved from David to another David. She does this a lot. She goes from one person to another person with the same names. Anyways, so after her breakup with David, she got into another relationship with David Saunders, who was a local miner. So within a few months, Saunders moved in with Katherine and her 2 daughters. So she has the 2 daughters.
Oh, she does.
Saunders moves in. He did keep his original apartment, though, and this pissed Katherine off. She became extremely jealous. She became extremely suspicious. Why do you still have your apartment? Are you planning on leaving me? What are you doing in your apartment when I'm not around?
Abusive. She is so, that is so abusive. That attempt to control him and everybody. Wow.
She was like, why do you need another apartment? Why do you need your apartment? So like her other relationship, this one quickly became very toxic and very violent. I'm just going to say this.
He hit her too?
No. Well, I don't know. Mostly her towards him. And so this I know this whole story is a big trigger warning, but this next part does involve an animal. So if you don't want to hear it, I suggest you skip like 5 seconds ahead. I don't want to say it.
Maybe
so
20
I don't blame
seconds.
you for not wanting to hear it. So I'll give you a second. So at one point, she slit the throat of his 2-month-old puppy right in front of him just to show him what she was capable of.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Still,
Oh.
they stayed together.
I know this story. I've heard that before. Where have I heard that?
This is just her second relationship.
Jesus.
So still, they stayed together. And they even had a daughter together 1 year later after this incident. Shortly after the birth of the daughter, Saunders leaves Katherine because she attempted to kill him with a pair of scissors.
Finally, it took that. Wow. I mean, ouch.
So those were the 2 Davids.
Wow. Okay.
We're moving on to the 2 Johns.
Oh, there's 2 Johns.
She then meets a man named John Chillingworth. I just want to say to me, that's a super cool name. I want to be named Chillingworth.
That is a cool name.
I don't know how you get that name. I've never heard it anywhere else, but cool name. Anyways, her and John Chillingworth stayed together for 3 years and had a child named Eric, which was Katherine's first son. Now, in this relationship, she actually wasn't violent and she wasn't toxic. It was John who left the relationship because he cheated on her. Excuse me, that was wrong. I didn't mean to say John cheated on her. She cheated on John with another John. But what I meant to say was that it was not a violent relationship. Her and Chillingworth didn't have fights. They didn't have arguments. Things, by his account, were good.
Okay.
She wasn't like, and I don't know if that was because she had a son with him and maybe she wasn't, I don't know. But she wasn't violent with him. But she did have an affair with another John named John Price.
Okay.
The beginning of Katherine and I'm going to refer to him by the last name since there's 2 Johns. So the beginning of Katherine and Price's relationship was without complications. He had 2 older children who lived with him, and they really seemed to like Katherine. They thought she was nice, very friendly. They didn't have any problems with her. He made enough money to keep her very comfortable and her children. They moved in together in 1995, and things up to this point were they were just going very smooth. Everything was great. However, in true Katherine fashion, that did not last very long. She had suggested to him that they get married and he declined, which sent her off the fucking rails. She was pissed that he wouldn't want to marry her. She didn't understand what you don't want to marry me? What's wrong with me? Why don't you want to marry me? She became extremely violent. She framed Price for stealing things from his company and got him fired. He initially kicked her out, but a few months later, they started seeing each other again. She must have been very charming in some kind of way because all of these men keep taking her back and letting her move in and like being around their children, even after she does all these violent things. It never said how like she would convince them, but anyways, they did. They started seeing each other again. This time, he did refuse to let her move back in. But she was like there all the time. Like they were dating. They were very much back in a relationship. So according to their friends and neighbors, Katherine's violence began to escalate. In February of 2000, an argument broke out between Price and Katherine that escalated with her attempting to stab him in the chest.
Wow.
He took out a restraining order against her in an attempt to keep his children safe.
Yeah.
But we all know what that probably did, which was piss her off even more, as it often does, abusers.
Wouldn't he get a protective order? I mean, because
restraining order.
Okay.
Maybe it's different in Australia.
Yeah, maybe.
Because this is all taking place in Australia.
That's right. I forget. Okay.
Toward the end of the month, Price let on that he was concerned for his safety and told his co-workers that if he ever went missing, it was because Katherine had killed him.
Wow. When people say that, I wish that other people would be like, you're never going home. We're going to keep you.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's always the famous last words. Am I right?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes. Famous last words. So on February 29th, 2000. I can't believe how recent this stuff is.
I know. That's like 22 years ago.
And on February 29th, 2000, John Charles Thomas Price came home from work.
It's a lot of first names.
He followed his usual routine. He checked in with his neighbors because his neighbors did want him to check in, which I think is really sad that you have to do that. But he would check in with the neighbors, and he would go to bed at 11 p.m. Katherine would come home shortly after. She made herself dinner. She watched TV. She showered, and then she went upstairs. She woke Price up. The two had sex, and he went to bed. Now, there was no violence. There was no fight. He simply went back to bed. Then Katherine took a butcher knife from next to her bed. As stated earlier, she always kept them there. She stabbed Price 37 times. According to evidence, he did wake up during the attack, but could not fight her off.
Oh my gosh.
He succumbed to his wounds. Katherine dragged his body downstairs. Oh, let me just say, the kids are at a sleepover. Kids were not home.
Okay.
Kids were not home.
Oh my God.
Katherine dragged his body downstairs, skinned him, hung his body from a meat hook in the living room.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes.
Why is there a meat hook in the living room?
She put a meat hook in the living room.
For just this?
I'm assuming. Because I don't know why else you would just have a meat hook.
Why else would you? Okay.
She then decapitated him. She cut up pieces of his body to cook in a dish with potatoes, pumpkin, beets, zucchini, cabbage, squash, and gravy. She then made a dish for herself. Though the hard discarded contents later found at the crime scene suggest that she couldn't finish her meal, but she did eat part of the meal. She then laid down next to the headless corpse of Price. She took a large number of pills and passed out. Katherine had left a handwritten note on the top of the body of Price that said bloodstained, and it was bloodstained, and it was covered with small pieces of flesh that read, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. You to Beck," which is Price's daughter, "for Ross, for little John, who was his son, and now play with little John's dick, John Price," which no one understood what any of that meant because no one had ever accused him of rape. Like, there was no evidence of rape, and like they just didn't understand what this note meant.
Maybe she was trying to frame him again for
maybe.
Like I was acting out of concern for these children.
Because she never explained the note.
She could have also just been, "Hi."
So Price's coworkers heeded his warning the next morning when he did not show up to work.
Oh, God.
And called the police immediately.
Oh, my God.
The police arrived to find Katherine's gruesome crime scene and immediately detained the comatose Katherine.
Was she trying to kill herself?
I don't know if she was trying to kill herself or just sleep, but she was, she took a bunch of pills.
So it's possible. So that's why
she never said she was trying to kill herself. It's just what she did. Huh. So once she woke up, she claimed to have no memory of the night before. In the kitchen, police found Price's head boiling in a pot of vegetables on the stove. On the table, they found 2 full plates, each labeled with a name. And in horror, the police realized that Katherine had planned to serve his body parts to his children and to his dog. She had set the table for the children when they got back from their sleepover. So she had more cooking on the stove. She had her plate. She had the 2 plates for the children. And then she had fed some to the dog.
Was there blood just everywhere? Everything is still the way that she left it?
Yes. Like the bedroom was that she had dragged his body down the stairs. So
his head is in that just...
Yeah, the head was in the pot.
Oh, my God.
His skin on the meat, like the body on the meat hook. Skin.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't... Oh, my God. Those poor people that found him and her. Oh, my God.
I believe the children did not ever see...
Oh, my God.
My understanding was the children did not see this.
I can't imagine walking into that house and seeing that scene. That is something those police officers probably never...
I know. I mean, because like...
My imagination is just bad enough.
His corpse was on the floor. His body was in the pot. There was stuff hanging from the meat hook. Blech. The skin that she had taken off was just chilling. Like...
Oh, there's pieces of flesh on the nose.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, my God. Ugh.
So she, again, claims that she had no memory of the night, that she does not remember killing him. She does not remember attacking him. She does not remember cooking him or eating him.
But everything that she did, everything that she did up until that point was like, I'm going to watch TV, make myself some food, take a shower, have some sex. They
had no fights that night. Nothing happened.
It seems so premeditated. She knew exactly. There was a meat hook in the living room. That wasn't done on accident.
Yeah. So she was charged with his murder. Two psychiatrists examined Katherine and diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder.
Bingo.
So, as most of you know, PD is a very serious mental disorder. Mm-hmm. It causes sufferers to have unstable behavior, mood swings,
violence,
very impulsive, intense anger, depression, like just all of these things. And she had never been diagnosed with that as a kid, even though she went through all the trauma.
So much trauma.
So she just now was diagnosed, but although multiple psychiatrists diagnosed her with both PBD and PTSD, mental health professionals deemed her sane enough and fit enough to stand trial. They said that she knew what she did. Like she knew what she was doing when she did it.
Okay. Because I can understand that. Yeah.
Because it was...
It
wasn't a heat in the moment fight where she may have lost her temper. Like she planned it out. She showed up.
She planned it. Right. So she couldn't argue insanity.
Yes.
Because of her diagnoses, but
because it was very clear that it had been planned out.
She knows well enough, right from wrong. Yeah. She wasn't like in a blackout state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while the judge who sentenced Katherine accepted that she did have BPD, he said that the diagnosis did not explain the time and the full circumstances of the killing, which came from factors not associated with the borderline personality disorder.
Yes.
So that is why he was like, okay. So, in October of 2001, her trial started. It did not get very far. For reasons that remain unclear, Katherine changed her plea to guilty, and the judge adjourned the case without testimony. So they didn't need testimony. She's like, I'm guilty. I did it. Whatever. So what the justice said was the prisoner, Katherine Mary Knight, does not qualify for mercy. She engaged in cruel, vicious behavior to Mr. Price. She showed him no mercy. She has not expressed any remorse. If released, she poses a serious threat to the security of society. I am satisfied beyond any doubt that such a murder was premeditated. I'm further satisfied in the same way that not only did she plan the murder, she enjoyed the horrific acts which followed in its wake as part of a ritual of death and defilement. So after this statement...
Wow. Yeah. That's very powerful. Wow.
Yeah. So after this statement, she was escorted to prison that same day. The judge ordered her papers to be marked never to be released. So for the first time in history, a woman in Australia was given the life sentence without a chance of parole, period. So she was never gonna get out.
So that's so that was just right off the bat. So day one of the trial, she says, I don't want to go through this.
Yeah, day one, she changed her plea. I'm guilty. They said, okay, done. No testimony. Judge convicted her. Life sentence, no parole.
Do you think that maybe she didn't want others to have to testify? Like, she didn't want to have to hear what others had to say. There's so, like, the character witnesses, right? So people coming in being like, man, here are all the things we know. We saw her do. I
don't know. Maybe it was she didn't want her kids, because through all of this, she never once injured children. She never attacked the children. She was going to
feed them.
Well, but they weren't her children, right? Like, her children. I'm just saying, she never actually physically harmed the children.
Yeah.
The children were never her target. It was always the men.
Yeah, but that's abusive to them.
I know it's abusive.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I think that maybe she didn't want to put the children through the trials. Because
they would have heard a lot.
Yes.
It would all be in public record.
And they would have seen pictures.
We already have enough. Oh, they would have seen pictures.
You know, because they had not gone to the home and seen. So I don't know if that is what it is, or if she just wanted the fame, or she just, maybe it was her mental illness. It doesn't say why she changed her plea. Just that she, in the end, decided to change it, plead guilty, and just, that was it. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know the exact reason why she changed it. I don't know if it was because, of the kids. And I don't actually know what happened to any of the kids, because in none of the research I saw, it didn't mention the kids again. Like, I'm assuming they went to other families, because she had, several children of her own, plus the ones from John. So,
oh my gosh, I hope they're all okay.
Yeah. And
so much. I hope they're okay.
I think they just kind of try to stay out of the media after everything.
Of course.
Yeah. So to this day, Katherine still maintains her innocence. She refuses to accept responsibility for her actions, even though she did plead guilty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She claims that she's innocent, that she did not kill John, that she doesn't remember it. So I don't know.
How bizarre is that?
That's why I say I don't know the real reason why she pled guilty.
Wow.
Maybe she thought if she pled guilty, she would get a lesser sentence. I don't know. I don't want to speculate because I don't know.
So she was given life, but not execution.
No.
Wow.
So medical officials reported that Katherine had removed Price's skin in such an experienced manner that allowed them to actually later reattach the skin to his body. Prior to the funeral service. She had peeled Price's body with such expertise and such precision that she left the entire skin intact, including Price's nose, ears, genitals, mouth, and hair. So,
Hold on.
Yes.
Did they reattach the head for the funeral?
I'm assuming so.
Shut up.
It was in a pot. I don't know. It says there was a funeral and they reattached the skin to his body. I don't know. I didn't want to look up pictures. I didn't want to Google it. So you're free to do it.
I'm going to do it. I bet
there was a funeral and they put the skin back on his body.
But why?
Head to toe.
Oh my God. They took a boiled head out of... Yeah. I'm sorry. This is it's so morbid and it grosses me. I'm like trying not to get...
All I know is like, but can't like... The whole skin suit was in one piece. And they just put it back on the body. Like, I don't mean to make light of the situation. So please don't message us with...
It's making me gag a little bit. But
don't message us with your hate. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but she really literally did take the whole thing. And they just put it back on him.
I'm just trying to think, like, if, like a bear rug or something, like, is that so? Could that go back over an animal?
I'm guessing so.
I don't know.
It said
it's grossing me out so much.
I guess she, like, the things that she learned from when she was working, like, she just did it with such precision that literally the whole thing was intact. So.
This is... Oh, that poor man. That poor man.
So.
And his poor children.
Katherine has appealed her sentence before. But every time she does, it's denied immediately. She will never get parole. She will never be released. She is still serving her life sentence at Silverwater Women's Correctional Center. And
is she getting medication?
I don't know.
I don't know if there is medication.
She doesn't think she's crazy.
Oh no.
So that's my story on Katherine Knight.
Sorry. That made my stomach flip a few times. Like it's really early in the morning to hear about a skinned man. That is so bothersome. I'm so sorry. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to, on that note, okay, let me read some answers. Sorry, my phone shut down and it closed the thing. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm looking. It's early, y'all. Okay, here we go. Ooh, we got some comments, y'all. Okay, so Laura. Hi, Laura. Miss you. Hers is, this is good. The Assassin's Square. And that's with her married name, or the Assassin's Kiss with her maiden name. Oh. Both of those are so good, Laura. Both of them. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. Sarah, the Dead Square.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
I actually do. I think that I don't know what it means either, but that's really funny. And then you posted that. Oh, that's funny. Okay. See, I never read these until the day of. Okay. Amy says the salt well. Oh, y'all people with A's. I don't know. I don't get the salt thing.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Jesse says the shadow domicile.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I mean, I know what domicile means, but I don't know what.
Shadow. I have the shadow room. It's kind of the same, right? Oh yeah, Janet has the shadow room. See, that's so good. It's so good. Mark has the hollow house. Ooh, Mark, good one. That just sounds scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dev. Hi, Dev. I miss you. Dev's is the 9mm station. Yes. Ooh. That just sounds like a crime thriller.
Yes.
The 9mm
I want to read
station.
Some of these. I kind of want to read the Shadow Room.
I know. Honest. The Shadow Room. I kind of like that. I kind of dig that. Jason has a good one. I'm using it.
Yes. Those are
and
good.
Janet. Yay. I'm so glad.
Oh, I failed us again. I forgot to check our website to see if we had any voicemails, but I don't think we did. But quick announcements on that note. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, we do try to check them. We just forget to put them in. But it's on our website, katandashley.com. You can leave us a voicemail. You can leave us a regular message. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please send us story ideas. Otherwise, you're going to end up with stories like these where we talk about skinning and cooking a man at 9 a.m.
I got a good one I'm working on. It's going to be a two-parter. I'm surprised none of you have asked us to do this one. But it's going to be big. So as I'm researching it, I'll think of let me think of a non-murder story for next week.
Yeah, see, I was like, you know what? I can't do another disappearance story. I do disappearances every week. So you guys are welcome for your murder story today. Well, you guys won't be listening to it at 9 a.m. I mean, you might, but
I always listen to us in the morning.
I know. It's a very great way to start your day, honestly. Murder, coffee, I mean, you know.
It all goes the same. So quick update also at work, some really cool things happened this week. I was interviewed for a Lifetime series that's coming out in August about domestic violence in marriages, funny enough. And there'll be 10 episodes of this first season anyway. And the first episode will be about Savannah Kinchin, who we covered. We interviewed Mike, her dad, who was killed in 2020 by her husband. And the story has gotten just quite a bit bigger because they really now are highlighting the bail bond reform, how he bailed out 3 times after he killed her. So there's just so many things that happened along the way there. He was eventually found and he killed himself when the cops approached him on New Year's Day. But anyway, so that's coming out in August, and you'll say, hey, I might be on TV. I might be on the TV.
Exciting.
And then we were at a concert late last night, but because Bon Iver, if any of you know Bon Iver, everywhere they are going on this tour, they're still going all over the country, but they are highlighting one organization that deals with domestic violence and sexual assault and gender inequality in every city that they're going to. So if you see them coming into your town, get a ticket. Seriously, like you're giving $1 to this organization, and it's such a good show. Had a great time last night. Very cool music. And I've been listening to them forever. So if they're coming to your town, go support a nonprofit that's doing really good work. The series, we actually talked about it yesterday with the director, because there will be a couple of episodes where the man was the one that died, and he wants to highlight that. Yeah. He wants to say, like, it doesn't just happen to women. And so that's funny that you kind of said the same thing.
Real quick side note, because you asked, she did try to kill herself, according to a forensics toxicologist. She had taken all of her antidepressants and antihistamines together. She's currently 66. So she's not that, she's still kind of young.
She was young 22 years ago. Younger than me, and I am now.
So,
damn.
Anyways, that's that. She did intentionally try to kill herself.
So she was taking antidepressants. She just wasn't probably on the right ones.
Or not taking them regularly. I imagine when she went to the psychiatric ward for the postpartum is when they gave her the antidepressants.
That's right.
But they didn't diagnose her with the borderline. They just diagnosed her with postpartum.
And she probably didn't talk about, being raped by multiple family members till she was almost a teenager.
Yeah.
And that's, God.
Anyways, I just wanted to give that little update because
it's terrible. It's terrible that there's so many of these stories and people wonder why people turn out the way that they do. Like what we do as parents really does affect.
Almost every story we've done of us, not to excuse their behavior, but every story of abuser, murderer, serial killer, whatever, has had such a effed up childhood.
Oh my gosh, I know. Is it too early for you to cuss?
I don't know. I don't know. Effed up. I'm sorry. Does that make you feel better?
All right. That's it. That's good. I love it. All right, guys. Well, we will see you back here next week. We appreciate you guys continuing to listen to us.
Yes, we love you.
We know that we're kind of goofy. We laugh when it's uncomfortable, and it's not to disrespect any of the victims in our stories, but sometimes, man, these things are just hard to hear, hard to research, hard to hear, and then just there's so many questions that we have that we want answered that we just probably will never get answered. But we appreciate that you guys still listen to us. Make sure to send us some story ideas, question of the week ideas, and give us a holler. Let us know where you are, and maybe we can do a story about your hometown.
Yes.
All right. Until next week, we will see you soon. Be good to one another, please. Bye.